watching Moms Matter virtual episode at EverTalk TV. I'm your host, Shirin Yadigar, and I am bringing you experts right now from all across the globe to help answer all these crazy questions we have. And I'm so excited to have Neely Fisher all the way from Israel joining us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I mean, you're amazing. You're a working mom. You've got 4 kids. You guys are all locked down right now. In reality, how are you holding up?
All right. So, truth, I've been great. You know, I think like anything, the beginning is always kind of a novelty. Even the challenges are a novelty, and therefore there's something new and fresh about. And I feel like even people that we've been listening to on social media and stuff, I feel like the first couple weeks, maybe up to like week 4 or whatever, it was like, it's great, you know, we're like having family meals and we're spending so much time together. By the way, I don't mock that. I still have many, many moments of gratitude, and there are many, many things about this time that I think we're all going to look back at and miss. Assuming we've all stayed healthy, of course. But I literally had a meltdown the other day, like a big one, where, you know, like when somebody says something and you just like completely overreact and break down, and all they said is like, I don't love the color of your shirt, or something stupid like that. Like whatever it was, you know, my son said something, whatever it was. And I had such a like, oh my God, like I can't do this. I can't be like caterer, chef, like educator, homeschooler, like house manager, clean, like all these things that we're now doing, right? Lots of well, we could talk about this in a minute, but like, you know, it's really hard to stay focused, and my job is all about like igniting inner passion so that I can share it with the world. I gotta be inspired for my job, and I have not been. Well, I wasn't inspired that other day, and I said, you know what? I need a mom day off. I need a day off. Other people get days off. I don't get a day off. Not even one. I'm up at 5 in the morning, starting. And so I did. I didn't see anyone for 24 hours. And went to the beach, of course, secluded, social distancing, no crowds. Listened to podcasts, like did some yoga, gave myself a facial, like. Love it. And I came back so rejuvenated, and I think it was the most valuable thing. I taught my kids too. It's like, you feel like you're gonna lose it, like pause, take a moment, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's impossible to hold it together all the time, and I love that you're being so honest that, yeah, you're going to have meltdowns. I mean, it's impossible to stay home with the 6 of you and completely be calm and normal at all times. It just doesn't happen. But you did write the Coronavirus Survival Bible. What is that?
Listen, we put together this kind of list of things. I don't even know. I'm like not going to pull it up right now. I don't even remember I've written so much about coronavirus and so much about staying healthy at home. You know, it's a really big focus on creating things like routine and, you know, trying to maintain your normalcy. And it's funny, when I wrote it, it had like a whole list of things that you should do at home to stay sane. And of course, since then, we've learned so many things, like including the fact that I lately have now been like getting dressed in the morning, taking care of myself, like not just living in my United pajamas.
Right.
You know, like I posted a little post the other day that I put on a pair of heels, and I was cooking in heels just to like, you know, feel like I was out in my own kitchen or whatever.
But it's true. I mean, when we stay in our pajamas all day, we feel so lethargic, and you are a working mom. And so you're not used to being home 24/7 and not getting up and not getting out. And I think it kills us emotionally. So I love your post in the heels, and I love all your posts. They are so uplifting. And for everyone who's watching right now, what is like a new ritual that you have now that is uplifting that you could share with us that we might want to adapt into our own lives at home?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
I thought you were asking all the people. I'm like, yeah, people, give us some tips. I'm waiting. Okay, a lot of things. And you know, I call myself the flexible chef, when in reality, the secret to flexibility is actually the opposite of being all like, you know, you think of flexibility like you're kind of a little bit of, you know, you could like bend a little bit. The key is actually organization. Scheduling, again, with a big family and like this kind of life. I'm usually on a plane every week or two. You've got to be super organized. So And everyone's different. It's funny. I shared this in a different conversation recently. And actually some people said, you know, what I'm loving about this time is that I'm not scheduling like I used to. And I'm kind of enjoying that whole, like, you know what, I don't have to wake up at 5 in the morning anymore because my kids don't. So, you know, everyone's different. For me, getting organized and having a schedule means that I feel empowered to control the things that I can control right now. And, you know, a lot of people are now talking about this, but most of life right now feels completely out of our control. And what's in my control is that I wake up at 5 in the morning and I make my favorite coffee and it's there because I've pre-ordered all my Nespresso pods. That's like worse. Like you know, if you're not organized, they're taking like 2 weeks to do any shipments right now. So I better have had my coffee pre-ordered for like 2 months. You know what I mean? All those things, stocking my pantry, you know, making sure that like I have all the options in the world. So when it's time to wing dinner, I'm like, oh, let's see what we have in the pantry today. We have stuff because I've shopped and I've prepped and I've done all that. You know, I've been practicing yoga every day. I'm a yoga teacher and I typically, you know, for the last 20 years I've been practicing, but you know how things are, you kind of get off the wagon. I moved, you know, I've been traveling a lot. So my practice is like, you know, and so I now like religiously practice for an hour every day, even if it means waking up earlier. And I just feel like, I don't just feel okay. I feel like superhuman when I keep up my practices and I'm like, I am on top of my game. I'm staying healthy. I'm working out. Like it's not affecting my health, which I think is so important. We're going to all emerge from this little bubble.
Right.
And what version of ourselves do we want to see on the other side?
That's huge. That's so important. So you're going to start doing that yoga every day now because it's making you feel good and you're enjoying it. Are your kids joining in or is this something you do on your own?
No. And you know, we're so lucky. We have a little gym in the house and, so my kids have been working out. They go mountain biking with my husband, again, social distancing, of course. You know, like my 12-year-old does like a little bar yoga workout. We sometimes do family stuff, but my yoga practice is like my inspired time. I mean, they can come in if they want, like the door's not locked or anything, but it's my time.
It's your time. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have carved time, even with your 4 kids and your husband being home, you carve time out for yourself.
Yeah.
Just like you're saving grace right now.
Yeah.
And what about cooking? I mean, you're the expert here, but what's like your go-to for everyone watching who's we're having such a hard time because we keep making this This is not the time to like reinvent the wheel. We just want the ingredients that are there and throw it all together. What is your go-to recipe that makes everyone happy?
I don't know that there's one recipe. I don't know how it is in your house, but in my house, like if you make the same thing too often, they're like, huh?
Yeah.
Pizza again or whatever, you know?
Right.
So you know, it's funny and I'll give you some recipe ideas, but what I've found really rewarding is to continue to try new things during this time. And I know a lot of people are doing this, like buying new cookbooks, like trying, you know, I made a spicy green shakshuka yesterday, which is like basically creamed spinach with cracked eggs on top and put a little Parmesan. That was amazing. I am waiting for spaghetti squash because I'm obsessed with spaghetti squash. I make a spaghetti squash pad thai, which is in my cookbook. I love it.
Yeah.
I think I have my book here, but you check it out. Anyway, so that's like one of our favorites. It really tastes like we lived in Asia for 15 years, so like brings back the flavors of Thailand on a beach, even though we're stuck in a house. But I've been trying to be like. At the beginning, I was cooking like. Every meal had to be new and it was all this new fun, like, oh wow, I could like make lunch for my kids. Right. Now lunch is usually leftovers or I do a huge salad bar on the island in our kitchen and everyone can just like pick their proteins. I always have salad dressings in the fridge. Right. So everyone can just grab their own lunch. I literally at the beginning was like setting the table and no, everyone can grab their own lunch. Yeah. And we've been doing barbecues and pasta parties and we're taking out every once in a while to support local restaurants, which feels really rewarding, actually. I think I'm doing more takeout than I used to for this exact reason.
Right. Well, washing the dishes and getting, I mean, it's a lot of work to do all these meals every day. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
And how is it being in Israel? I mean, is it really safe at home where you can't go out at all, or can you go out for walks and head out to the grocery store?
Yeah. they just eased some of the restrictions, which on the one hand is really nice, and the other hand kind of freaks me out because I'm like, just stay home a little longer, people. But it was for like the last couple of weeks that you couldn't leave your house more than 100 meters. So that just means like quickly walk the dog around the block.
Right.
My husband did a marathon, like he did like, not exactly a marathon, but he did like whatever, 20K, looping the block or whatever the other day. So people are getting creative. What else? I mean, up until yesterday, the only things that were open were supermarkets and banks. Most people were doing online shopping. I have like a local little grocer around the corner for me, so I go pick up fresh fruits and vegetables. There was an egg shortage, so like people couldn't get eggs. There was like a black market for eggs for a little while. That was really funny.
It's so crazy. It's just such a crazy time. I feel like, do you feel like you've had time to process what's happening and actually walk away with anything, for yourself after all of this?
So I think that this kind of mom meltdown that I talked about earlier, if you guys just joined, you'll re-listen. I think that was my point. It was like the midlife crisis of Corona, where I think that part of the crisis was like, holy, we can't curse here, Tammy. Okay. Oh my God. Like, this is what, like, it literally just hit me like, oh my God, what is going to be? I think that the biggest insight for me, and I'm still processing this, so like bear with it, has been, and I talked about this, like, for years teaching yoga about being in the moment and the past. The past is, we kind of like are nostalgic about our past. Like, oh, remember those days when we used to go out in heels or whatever. Remember those days where we would hug a friend or whatever, and then we get all sad, right?
Right.
And then of course there's the complete and utter sheer of the future and the unknown. And if we bounce between the past and the future, all we are sad, anxious, angry, like what? And I think my biggest takeaway has been that if we're in the moment, I know this is so cliche because it's so talked about, but if you really think about it, right now, is anything wrong? Like, I'm healthy,
right.
I'm about to do a handstand, like how freaking lucky am I?
Right.
And I have a pantry full of food, some people have none, like, my kids are so cute, like there's every single moment there's something to appreciate. And so I try not to, it's really hard not to focus on future, like when am I going to get on a plane next? And when am I going to work on my TV show? I'm trying not to go there all the time. The news doesn't help that either, right? So,
No.
Being really mindful of how often, it's good to check the news so you know, like, what the rules are in your little city. But other than that, I'm really just trying to be like, and now we're eating dinner together, and we're playing some music, and we're feeling alive.
I mean, I'm in 100% agreement with you. And I think whatever we do, all our actions, our kids are watching, and I have 4 kids at home too. And honestly, I just want them to walk away from this time feeling good about themselves. I don't want them to go back with, feelings of being anxious, after all of this. And it's very easy to when you've got the news on all day and all that. So it's nice to walk away and to really be in the moment. And I don't think it's cliche at all. I think it's very true. I think we should all walk away after this thinking, you know what, we lived in the moment. And we took it day by day. We took it hour by hour, and we're blessed that we're not in a hospital room, I bet. We're home and we're safe.
Exactly. And I think too, like this idea of, especially because the kids are sort of modeling not only your behavior, but also your thoughts. Like, how do they actually know what we're thinking? But they do. Right. And my whole thing, and this is why, like at the beginning, I was like cooking so much and making it all like, overworking basically. It was because I wanted them to feel like this was special, like that. And I think, kids, if you're watching, they're definitely not. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. No, but I think that they're all kind of like in good spirits because we're trying to be, right? Because the house is a sanctuary, because they wake up and they hear music playing in the kitchen, and there's fresh, homemade, delicious things, and mom's relatively present, and
And we really are beyond blessed. All of us who are watching this are beyond blessed. The fact that we are on Instagram right now, and that we're healthy, and that we don't have to worry about, a food delivery to our house, and that we have the money to actually go out and get what we need to nourish ourselves, is such a blessing.
Yeah.
So I think we are, and I appreciate you joining us at 5 a.m. from Israel. But before we say goodbye, tell me one thing that you want to leave us with that you feel like is going to empower all the parents who are watching right now.
So one of my favorite quotes, and I think it's applicable to today, is that it's going to be okay in the end. In Israel, there's a Hebrew saying that's, that they say, Yihye beseder, which means it's going to be all right. And I used to hate that because I'm like, no, it's not just going to be all right. Like, you have to take action to be it all right. Like, there was such complacency in that statement. But the quote that it's going to be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, it's not the end, right, keeps me from going crazy. I'm like, okay, it is going to be okay in the end because we're still waking up, we're still plowing through, we're still living in the moment. Life is still good.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Right here at Moms Matter at EverTalk TV.